Hello there, tankers and tankettes. This is Iron Lord Mink, and today we're going to be talking about some hints and tricks that you can apply to a World of Tanks console. Now, the reason I'm making this video is because I've heard a lot of complaints recently following 6.0 in regards to silver earning, pretty much losing credits non-stop, that sort of thing. And I think this is because like one thing a lot of people don't actually really understand about 6.0 is how it's actually changed versus previous updates and how consumables, equipment, that sort of thing used to actually work. Now, specifically, I'm going to be talking about consumables in regards to the fact that, well, in 6.0 versus 5.0, when you use consumables, is actually a charge per battle instead of charge per use. Though in the past, we've used fuel, food, that sort of thing. It would still charge you per battle, but obviously repair kits would charge per use. However, the whole charge per battle is now actually applied across the board in regards to consumables, whether it's repair kits, it's fuel, food, med kits, fire extinguishers, that sort of thing. And if you're using premium consumables, especially if you're using premium consumables, this can actually become quite expensive. So in regards to this video, I'm pretty much going to be going over a few hints, a few tips, a few things that I'd recommend doing in order to make sure that your World of Tanks wallet is safe and you have a nice stockpile of a small country's worth of credits available to you to obviously purchase tanks, keep your grinds up, and obviously make sure your vehicles are fully equipped and competitive going forward. And well, to start off, I'm going to just talk about equipment. So specifically in regards to equipment, in the past, equipment hasn't really changed too much, though it's no longer destroyable, no longer dismountable for gold, which is fine because if you dismounted equipment for gold, well, you're spending gold. Um, and in regards to that now, equipment, if you actually dismount it, you actually get half the actual value of the equipment back in terms of credits. Now, this is actually a very good thing, especially if you are a long time player like myself, where you've kept around a bunch of tier ones, twos, and threes for whatever reason, and you've got them sitting around fully spaded with full equipment. Because where equipment's actually changed, a lot of the equipment have generally either gone up in value or gone down only very slightly. And that's because pretty much equipment no longer relies on classes. So whereas before, if you were using vents, gun rammer, that sort of thing, depending on the vehicle you're mounting it to, it would have a different class. So for example, vents would be 50,000 credits for a light tank, 100,000 credits or more for a medium, and about 5 to 600,000 on a heavy. Now it's pretty much just the same across the board, which is actually very, very good and very handy if you have a lot of, low tier light tanks with vents, because you pretty much, if you were to sell those vents, you're making back 175 to 200% more credits than you actually spent on the equipment in the first place. And then I came to the realization you don't really need full equipment on every vehicle anymore. I mean, well, tiers one and two have been retired, so you don't really only going to play tier ones and twos to meme about maybe in team training. That's about it. Or if you're going back for aces and things, but luckily for me, I've done all my aces, so I've pretty much sold all my equipment on my tier ones and twos, and that's pretty much netted me a nice, healthy 23 million credits in the bank. And on top of that, when you realize you don't actually need full equipment on every vehicle, it pretty much means all you need equipment on is the stuff you're grinding, stuff that you play competitively, or maybe the occasional premium tank that you want to play for credits anyway. And even so, if you mount your equipment to your vehicles, you can actually sell it at any time, put equipment back on your premium vehicles, and re-earn the credits you lost anyway. So, one thing I definitely recommend doing if you are short on credits and you're going for your next tier 10 or whatever, just go back through your low tiers, go back through tanks that you don't really play anymore. Just pretty much evaluate: do I need that equipment? And if no, sell it and get a nice return back. And that goes on to the second thing I want to talk about: consumables. Now, consumables, they've changed a lot as well. So in regards to consumables, as I said, they're now charged per use, charged per battle, should I say, instead of charged per use overall, which can actually be quite expensive when you're looking at specifically premium consumables. Though premium consumables are now reusable, um, reusable consumables, they're not really that beneficial, again, unless you're playing high tiers where mistakes are punished more harshly. So if you're looking at, say, lower tier vehicles, tier 5s, tier 6s, maybe even tier 8s you can get away with, you don't really need the reusable consumables. Instead, what I'd actually recommend doing, instead of using reusable consumables, use standard consumables. Why would I say that? Well, it comes down simply to this. Standard consumables pretty much work the same way that the old premium consumables used to work. So they're single use, but they repair everything, or they heal everything, or they just put your fire out. But they also have like passive bonuses as well alongside it. So for example, previously in 5.0 and before, in classic World of Tanks, I would have said, if you're going to put fire extinguisher, always go automatic. One, because it's automatic, so when it does trigger, you save a lot of HP, reducing repair costs anyway. And they also have a passive bonus of 25%, which pretty much meant you never get start fire anyway, or if you did, it's very rare. So you tended to actually make more credits using premium consumables, well, premium fire extinguishers, than you did if you were using manuals, just because of the way it worked. But now, again, looking at fire extinguishers as a perfect example, premium fire extinguishers are only reusable now. They're pretty much the same as standard, just with an extra 5% bonus to fire reduction, which is nice, I guess. But if you get 20% on the standard and the premium one isn't automatic anyway, there's no real benefit of using it, unless of course you're playing something that's like a Chinese medium or Chinese heavy, or something that just burns a lot, where okay, in that case then use a premium fire extinguisher. But in any other case, I wouldn't bother. One, because, well, standard fire extinguisher is only like 3,000 credits versus 20,000 credits, so you're instantly saving a crap ton of credits there anyway. Plus, with a 20% reduction to fire chance, well, they're generally, pretty efficient, pretty effective. So, again, that's something to consider. So, overall, when it comes to consumable loadouts, maybe don't go full ham with the, full premium loadout. Maybe just, I'd say, go for an average about, say, 2 standard consumables and maybe 1 premium consumable if you're feeling frisky, like maybe you want fuel on your light tank, or you want to use rations or anything like that, basically. So that's one thing I would definitely consider doing. Just because, again, no one wants to lose 60k credits a game when they could be making 50 to 60 to 100k. And now this goes on to the other thing. Silver boosts. Now, silver boosts probably not that relevant unless you've got a lot stockpiled, and I can guarantee a lot of you probably have silver boost stockpiled from seasons, from previous earn ops, from the monthly rewards, and from the yearly rewards that you don't even realize that you have. So I would definitely recommend, if you're also tight on silver but don't have equipment to sell, but you have got, say, a tier 8 premium or something that you are really comfortable with in terms of silver earning, definitely run your silver boost just to grind out that amount of credits, just to keep you going. And that pretty much leads on to the next thing. I know a lot of people may or may not have tier 8 premiums or tier 7 premiums or anything like that. So for those people that don't really have premiums, or maybe they're new to the game, or they missed out on previous earn-ups like the Drogon or Defender that was fairly recently, or even the season, the true premiums from the season passes, specifically looking at like the tier 8 premiums like the E75 TS, that sort of thing. Stuff that actually makes credits, because again, one thing to remember is tier 9 and 10 premiums aren't actually real premiums, they're more reward tanks, so they just give you a little bit extra XP, where basically you're pretty much playing the tech tree tank in terms of how it performs. But one thing I recommend doing if you don't have premiums, keep around something that you are really comfortable with, between, say, about tier 5 and tier 7, or even the occasional tier 8 if you are really good, decent at the game, and you can obviously minimize your silver expense, I should say, because what you'll find is, even keeping something as low tier as a tier 5, assuming you don't go ham like I have in this clip, where using a premium fire extinguisher, which again I don't need anymore because they're pretty much useless other than the fact they're reusable. In this game, I probably would have had the potential to earn something like 20 to 37,000 credits. Well, assuming if I survived and it was a win, and I didn't use that premium fire extinguisher, because if I didn't use that, well, automatically I'm gaining 20,000 credits. or thereabouts. So that's one thing I definitely recommend doing. Keep around something comfortable, something that you do well in. Keep Wonder was a fan favorite. Something that has decent enough penetration for its tier. Maybe even go for something that has a derp gun, so you don't really have to worry about pen. You just shoot stuff and do damage. So KB1S is always a favorite in that regard. Or even just keep something that you do well in. The Tiger one as well, like at tier 7. Though it's a tank that a lot of people tend to hate on because they're either inexperienced with the game or they expect it to be this invulnerable Wunderwaffe, which wasn't really the case IRL, but that's what the History Channel says, so let's go with that. But if you run the Tiger one, again, it's got decent enough penetration to cover you for tier 7 and tier 8, so 1 UR plus 1 and same tier. And it's got insane DPM, cheap ammunition costs, and again, it's just a good performer, so you maybe want to keep that or something like that around. Though, speaking of, in regards to premiums, if you have got a tier 8 premium, or or if you're lucky enough to have any of the Crimson tanks like the Ragnarok or the Hydra, yeah, I would, if you need credits, I'd definitely be playing those vehicles. Pretty much anything with a high silver rate, and that also includes stuff like, I believe, the King Tiger premium, that'd be the German one, which is pretty much just a reskin Tiger 2 with less HP, or, playing something like the Atomic, which I believe has a 60% silver bonus, if I'm not mistaken, and I believe the second highest silver earner next to the Crimson tanks would be the Mutant 6, or Wildcard, which I believe has 67% silver. So playing those sort of vehicles, or pretty much any tier 8 premium, make sure you play it decently well. Obviously, again, make sure to be sensible with your ammo loadout. You don't want to be spamming full premium as much as we like doing that. Reserve that for tier 10, yeah. If you make sure you have sensible loadout, if you're someone who can do a decent amount of damage a game, so at least 2,000 damage, it isn't that difficult. You're pretty much golden. You're probably going to be earning about 50, 60,000 credits a game on a free-to-play account, and if you have premium time, you'll probably be exceeding 100,000. Now, I'm going to show you a perfect example of that coming up after this. We're just going to, watch these scumbags die. No offense to Artillery players, but what you'll see is a game where I'm playing the Hydra, which is pretty much the main meat of this video, where I make it in excess of 100,000 credits, and probably could have earned even more if, again, I wasn't using the premium fire extinguisher, which is essentially useless now unless you're playing a Chinese tank or something that burns a lot, like a machine, or just playing tier 10s. And on top of that, so not only would I make 20,000 credits more from just not having that premium fire extinguisher, I also didn't put on the 2x silver bonus, which if I did do that, I probably would have made about 260-ish, 250-ish K credits alone. So I'm just going to pretty much see that coming up, just, watch the end result of this battle, but nothing really too exciting. Though I did keep my free marks. Not like it matters too much, because once you get free marks, you can't lose them, unless you're one of those crazy people who like to go for 100%. But yeah, you can see here, silver earnings, I made just shy of 8,000 credits. And if I wasn't, like I say, using that premium fire extinguisher, that would have been an easy 28,000 credits, or even 30,000 credits. So, well, it's not the same as 60,000. Given that pace of tier 5 games is generally a lot quicker than higher tiers, you can get through a lot of games quicker. It's almost as efficient as an efficient way to grind credits than it is just to play tier 8 premiums all day. In fact, that's pretty much how I used to grind credits when I was truly free to play before I sold my soul to wargaming. Where I used to play tier 5s, pretty much do about 1,000 or damage a game, have a good time, pretty much chill, and I would make about 20 to 30,000 credits a game. So, it was not too bad. So, yeah, just get right into things. Just see the Hydra replay once we get past all this shenanigans. So the Hydra. So what do you need to know about it? The Hydra is effectively a buffed IS-6, which plays like a defender, but with more silver earnings. So you see this game under, I'm pretty much going to be playing the, frontline kind of bulldozer role, try to use my armor as effective as I can. I just brawl everything. Though granted, I do take a beating because of it, because I didn't use my armor as effectively as I should have. But what you'll see in this battle is that I'll actually end up doing quite an effective amount of damage. I'm not going to spoil it, because it's just fun watch, but what this game should demonstrate is what you can actually do in a tank as long as you, again, don't go overboard with the premium ammo, you play as well as you possibly can. Again, if you're playing tier 8s, target, I'd say at least 2,000 damage if you want credit, because even though you can mup it out, and I have done it many a time in a tier 8 where I've done even less than 1,000 in some cases, because, well, that just happens sometimes. Even even unicums aren't perfect, and well, that's coming from an X unicum. But what you find is, even if you dip out, you can still make about 20,000 credits. But again, it's not recommended for your team and your sanity. So again, I'd say try to aim for a good amount of damage. Try to play as best you can. Use your if you're playing heavy, use your armor as effectively as you can. If you're playing anything else, again, same rules apply. Use your armor as effective as you can if you hold down medium as an example, or just stay mobile and just try not to get hit, and play the support role if you're in one of those vehicles. So you'll see here, I take a big hit from the start. I get my fuel tanks damage, doesn't really bother me, but I do get a nice snapshot into the SU-130, or the Shashka because it's a special skin version. But I'm pretty much going to be like, okay, knowing the situation, I'm just going to pretty much play like a bulldozer and just going to be in their face. And one thing to note as well, especially since 6.0 as well, because of the buffs that the new cruise skills have given you, snapshot and smooth ride, it's pretty much recommended on everything, including artillery. Never would have said that before, but with the buffs to crew, like the crew skills and, well, some of the equipment buffs as well, like what you'll find is your gun handling, even on something like the Hydra, which is not meant to have good gun handling. In fact, it was like base about 4.4 accuracy previously. You can actually buff that up to a ridiculous degree and basically turn your cannon into some sort of sniper, which is, again, kind of interesting. Kind of a strange direction we've gone into, but given that modern tanks are rising and modern tanks have, gyro stabilization, they have, pretty much, you could do pull-ups on a barrel while it fires and it won't affect anything. I kind of see what world game we were going for, but I know some people aren't fans. I kind of like sort of like the old RNG, but at the same time I kind of like having them be more consistent as well. So it's like, one of those things you can go either way with it. One thing you also notice from this replay as well, looks like they've changed the traces, and traces are way more visible. That's probably a nerf to artillery. People have been asking for that. But yeah, you'll see, again, I do a decent amount of damage. I'm currently on about 2.3k, about 700-ish assistance, so just shy. Again, I'm playing the bulldozer role. I'm low health, yeah, my commander's dead, but who cares? I missed that because I'm a Muppet. But you'll see, the end of this, and there's an artillery tracer. You'll see the end of this now. Me basically brawling a captured King Tiger who doesn't know what to do, which is fine. It happens. He probably expected me to be some sort of like normal IS6 and auto pen me, but because the IS6 is balanced these days. When I say balanced, I mean power creep the fucking hell. But it is what it is. It's an also premium, tends to happen in these sort of games. But yeah, here we go. Pretty much KB4 knocked out there. I'm going to basically turn my turret around here, probably snapshot the enemy Hydra. Am I going to snapshot him? I believe I am. If I can see him through my tiny viewfinder, yeah, yep, he is dead. And pretty much that's it. So, this game is pretty much effectively won from here. I mean, if the enemy team could pull it back, well, well, good luck on them, basically. But, yeah, generally speaking, you'll pretty much see what I mean about credits. Like, again, it's Hydra. I mean, it is like one of the most efficient credit earners in the game, next to the Ragnarok and the Minotaur, just because of the fact that it's got decent pen, goodish alpha, the actual cost of ammunition, while it's expensive, is not too bad. But yeah, you'll see in that game I did about 1500 XP, about 4k combined. It's only second class, but it's a Hydra, so pretty much you're not expecting like miracles there. So pretty just average game. But as you see, I earned 118k credits, and I didn't even have a 2 times silver boost on, and I also was using a premium fire extinguisher that was unnecessary. And you can imagine if I didn't use that, that would have been like 250k credits there. And yeah, you'll see here now, I pretty much don't even have a silver booster on. And you see there, plenty there, 23, from stockpiled and saved up over the months. But yeah, pretty much it. Again, there are ways to earn credits. You just got to sort of play, but basically just think, what is actually necessary on your vehicle. Do you really need like full premium consumables? I mean, I get using food. Like I use food on pretty much most, like quite a big chunk of my vehicle, so I get using that. But yeah, pretty much that's it. And here we have another example of KV1S, just to roll out the end of this video. Yeah, in the KV1S, again, there's no one of those tanks that if you don't have premium, proper like tier 8 premiums or even tier 7 premiums, anything like that, is another one of those tanks where I would definitely recommend, getting your hands on, just keeping it about, just to, grind those credits, because with the gun, I mean, you pretty much got enough damage to effectively ruin anyone's day. You're in a fast mobile vehicle, so you can always get to the damage. And well, I don't play this game that well. Spoiler alert. Pretty much, see like a good example of the amount of credits you can sort of make. I can't actually remember for certain how much I actually made in this game, but I'm assuming it's probably around like 5, maybe 8k, which isn't a lot. Okay, fair enough. In this case, I don't have full premium consumables. I actually use standard loadout and everything, but that's mainly because I played like a muppet and my team suffered as a result of it. So that's pretty much where I got penalised. But generally speaking, you got a decentish vehicle. If you actually play well, unlike me in this replay, and do about 1000-ish damage, maybe even 2000-ish damage, which is 100% possible in a KV1S. It is extreme. I mean, I thought Wargaming rebalanced it when they moved it from tier 6 down to tier 5 and replaced the tier 6 KV1S with the KV85, which is pretty much the same thing, but just not as good because it has, less gun depression. It's also a lot slower, and the gun handling is a lot worse, though gun handling doesn't matter anymore. What you'll find is, generally speaking, it's an okay time, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So, well, I'm just gonna leave this fade out. The rest of this replay, hope you enjoy. Yes, I do play like a muppet, and I apologise for that. Though I do get a really nice shot in the Panzer IV Reach, I think, at the moment. Yeah, I don't know why I'm still aiming for the P43. Oh, there's the Panzer Reach, and boom, there's 200 health gone. So yeah, I'm just gonna fade out here. I hope you enjoy, like I say, the rest of this replay. Hope you take what I said on board. Just think about those consumables you're using. Do you really need full premium consumables? Unless well, pretty much no, unless you're doing super try hard mode for marks, or you're playing tier 9s or playing tier 10s, which are like they quote unquote competitive tiers, where even if you weren't using premium consumables, there's a good chance you would lose credits anyway, especially with the amount of premium you sort of have to keep on board. But again, I'm not going to comment on E4 spamming premium ammo. I know we've all been guilty of it. But yeah, pretty much it. And again, just make sure to go through your low tiers, maybe pick up tanks you don't play anymore. For me, I'm actually, in the process of, once I finish acing all my tier 3s, I'm going to pretty much dismount all my equipment from all my tier 3s, and that's going to be another like 10 or 20 million in the bank, and for carry on that through the tier 4s, and maybe even like the tier 5s, like, because I don't really play tier 5s anymore, and just basically just keep equipment. The stuff I'm actively playing. Like, again, you think how many credits like we've spent on equipment over the years. That's literally going to be an easy 100 mil in the bank, maybe. Who knows? I'll have to find out. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So this is pretty much a quickish video. I say quickish, I mean been running for about nearly half hour now, I believe. Or am I wrong? Yeah, about half hour. So quickish by my standards, and like I said, I hope you enjoy. It's my first official WOT Tanks video, so again, in relation to that, well, hopefully it goes somewhere, and again, thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate it.